The woman in business who's like, maybe I'll be successful or hoping they'll be successful or will I be successful? How she moves in her business is very different to the woman who's decided that she's successful, decided that she believes in herself, decided that she's going to make an impact, decided this is going to be her 6-figure year.
Welcome to the She Who Dares podcast. I'm your host, Krystal Wilson, the founder of She Who Dares. I'm a specialized breakthrough and mindset coach, business mentor, online course creator, and your number one no BS hype woman. I'm here to remind you who the fuck you are and reignite your personal power through powerful and expanding conversations on all things business, mindset, and energetics, to help you break through to your next level of success in all areas of your life, business, and bank account. Each episode is designed to expand your mind, shift your identity, raise your frequency, as well as give you success strategies to help you step into your highest, most powerful, abundant, successful, and magnetic you. So, I dare you to join me each episode, and I double dare you to implement what you learn and go all in on you. All in on your life, your business, your success. Because if you do, like so many of my She Who Dares clients and students, you will become everything that you know deep down you can be. Ready? Let's friggin' do this. Welcome back to the She Who Dares podcast. I'm your host, Krystal Wilson, your number one hype woman who's on a mission to remind you who the fuck you are, help you reclaim your power in all areas of your life, business, bank account. Let's get into it. So today I'm excited to be diving into something that I feel is going to be really powerful for you guys. And that is the 6 power principles that actually helped me to create my first 6 figures in my business. The idea for this episode actually came from a reel that I saw on Instagram, where one of my mentors had done a reel talking about the habits that helped him to become an 8-figure digital CEO. As soon as I saw this reel, I instantly got the idea for this episode, which is very authentic to me. So for all my human design girlies, I am a manifester and I have an undefined head center. And this actually means that my source of inspiration comes from outside of myself. So I can see like 5 seconds of a reel or read like 3 words of somebody else's post, and instantly I get like flooded with ideas that are very aligned to me, specific to me and my business. So I saw this reel. I didn't even watch the whole reel. All I saw was the title of the reel. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do a podcast episode, something similar, but like very aligned to me and my journey. And so when I sat down and thought about, okay, what do I want to speak about? I thought about, okay, where are we at in our businesses? I know for me, when I was at the beginning of my business, the thing that I was like so excited was obviously to make an impact and make income. And I was already earning about 6 figures in my career. And so it was my first goal to replace my income. I really wanted to reach 6 figures in my business. When I got the idea for this podcast, I thought, I want to reflect on my journey. And I want to reflect on my mindset, my habits, my behaviors, and the things that I naturally embodied that actually helped me to earn my first 6 figures in business. And so that's how we've landed here on this episode, the 6 power principles that helped me to earn my first 100K, 6 figures in business. And the truth is, I actually earned about 120K in my first year in business. So let's get into it. Okay, so power principle number 1 is showing up on day 1 as though it's day 100. This is something that I think has served me so well in my journey. I never acted like I was new. And not that there's anything wrong with being new. It was more about I didn't treat my business ever like I was new. I rocked up on day 1 and I treated it like a business from day 1. I showed up on day one embodying the energy, passion, conviction of somebody who had been in business already for 100 days. And I acted like I knew exactly what I was doing, even when I did not always know exactly what I was doing. So even though I was nervous, and even though I had fear, I was like, I'm going to show up in the energy and conviction and passion of somebody who's been in business 100 days. And the truth is, I was nervous. I had fears. I had thoughts like, oh my God, I'm going to fuck this up. I'm going to make mistakes. Of course, I had all of that on day one. But I just really anchored into embodying the version of myself who had already had success. So I rocked up on day one of my business with conviction, passion, acting like this is my 100th day in business. And it served me really well. And so even though as I was getting on those first sales calls or I was doing my first client sessions, I had all of the fear and all the, oh my God, how is this going to go? Is this going to work out? But I never let anyone see that within me. I showed up with conviction, with 100% self-belief and knowing in myself, 100% backing myself. And that absolutely has served me so well in business. So how can you apply this to you in your business? I want you to start to envision the version of you who's already 100 days in, already 100 clients in, already 100K in, right? In generating that kind of revenue in your business, no matter where you are in your journey, I want you to learn to stand tall and stand tall in your power. And I speak to this a lot in my work, in my client sessions, on the podcast, because I truly believe that when you remember who you are and stand strong in your conviction and your power, you are your most magnetic self. And success, clients, six figures, all of that is so much easier when you declare that you're successful, than when you show up as your most successful self. So I let my purpose and passion and excite me lead me on day one. Okay. And so this is why I was able to show up on day one, treating my business like a business, showing up in the energy of this already being my 100th day in business, because I didn't let my fear and self doubt be the thing that led me and dictate my energy or my decisions in business. I let my purpose, passion, excitement lead me, not my fear. Okay. And I showed up as though I was somebody who had already been doing this for a really long time, who'd already been doing this for 100 days. So show up on day one like it is already your 100th day in business, your 100th client. You've already earned your first six figures in business. And if you do this, this is going to really help you to become the version of you that you're going to need to become to be able to generate six figures in your business. Show up on day one as though you've already earned six figures. Show up in that energy. What would that version of you, how would she show up? How would she talk? How would she act in your business? Who would she call in? What kind of moves would she make? What kind of decisions would the six-figure version of you make? Right? These are higher level questions to ask yourself so that you can start embodying the version of you today who's already had the success that you desire to have. And this is how you collapse time and make this happen for yourself. If you're showing up in the energy of I'm new, at some point you're going to have to draw a line in the sand and embody the energy of the six-figure woman that you desire to be. And the truth is you're going to have to embody her, act like her, think like her, dress like her, coach like her, make decisions like her long before you actually are able to create the six figures. That is the secret, right? Embodying the future version of you now who already has what you want. And this is about earning your first six figures in business. So think about what would that version of you, the six-figure businesswoman, what would she be doing? How would she be thinking? How would she be acting? And start acting like that now. When I think back to my journey, I walked into every opportunity, every conversation as though I'd already achieved my goal. I embodied that energy and I became magnetic as fuck. And this is why success happened for me really quickly. And I was able to generate over 120K in my first year in business. People could feel me showing up powerfully, and that gave them the ability to trust me, right? Because I backed myself, I trust myself, and I showed that to people in my energy. So you can ask yourself, how are you showing up in your business? Are you waiting to be successful to embody the successful version of you? Are you waiting until you earn six figures to show up as the six-figure version of you who's got a six-figure business? So if you're waiting until you already achieve whatever your goals are in business, you're already behind the eight ball and you're missing the point, and you're actually stalling your success, because your dreams, your goals, your business, your success in anything will require you to be it now, to do it now in order to have it later. So whatever you want, you've got to embody it now in order to create that later for yourself. And the key is you can create it really quickly when you step into the identity of that of which you want. So if your goal is six figures in 2025 in your business, you bet your ass you got to start now, right? Showing up as the version of you who's already earning six figures today. Even if you have $2 in your bank account, even if you've never signed a client, right? It's all good, because things can shift and change really quickly when you shift and change your energy and your mindset. So it doesn't matter where you are right now in business, whether you have no money, you've earned no money in your business, you have no clients, or maybe you've already established a lot of success in business. Whatever your next level is, ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to create that? And how can I start showing up as her now? Okay, power principle number 2, act quickly, move fast. This has served me so well in my journey in business. One of the most game-changing principles I cultivated was my ability to act quickly and move fast. When an idea comes in, I took immediate action before my mind, right, or my inner mean girl could even talk me out of it. I didn't overthink it or wait for like perfect conditions to make moves in my business. I got inspiration and I moved quickly and I took action fast, because I knew that by waiting, I would actually slow down and stall my success. And I also knew that my excitement about an idea or moves that I was making would actually magnetize people to me. The more that I was excited and invested in something that I was doing in my business, the more that I could get other people excited and invested in what I was doing. So I learned to move really quickly in my business. This served me incredibly well at the beginning of my journey, because in order for you to get your business off the ground, it's going to require momentum. Okay. It's going to require momentum, and momentum loves speed. So when you move quickly, you're building momentum in your business. If you're wanting to get to that next stage in your business, you want to make moves quickly, move fast, because momentum loves speed. And you're able to create results really quickly when you're not stalling yourself, when you're not overthinking, when you're not procrastinating. Like, all of these things are unconscious self-sabotage patterns that are holding you back, because there's a fear, there's a lack of belief, there's a limiting belief, something that's driving these behaviors that you want to get to the root cause of, and you want to rewire and release, so that you can actually start to just trust yourself and back yourself, move quickly, and make moves fast in your business. So I didn't waste time with things that didn't matter. I didn't waste time with logos and websites and focus on things that didn't really matter in my business. And I see this happen a lot for women in business. We start a business, we get an idea, and all of a sudden we focus on things that are not income producing activities. And the most important thing when you're starting your business is you need to make money, and you need to make money really quickly, because if your business isn't making money, you don't even have a business. You don't have a business. So the number one thing that I focused on was sales and revenue in my business, not logos and websites and things that didn't actually matter. Because the truth is, like, a logo is actually not going to make you money,
And a website, unless you are driving traffic to that website, okay, unless you've got SEO set up, unless you're driving traffic to a website, it's not going to make you money, right? And so we waste time on things at the beginning of our business that do not matter and are not making us sales. And then women are like 6 months in, a year in, 2 years in, and they're not making revenue in their business. And it's chipping away at their confidence and their self-belief. And I'm like, let me show you another way. Because without sales and sales quickly, creating revenue, signing up clients, actually having a clientele base, I didn't have a business. So that was the most important thing. So I acted quickly and I moved fast to launch my offers and sign up clients really, really quickly. And I applied principle one, right? Principle one, I acted as though I'd already been in business 100 days on day one with that level of confidence, which helped me to generate income really quickly, which helped me to sign clients really quickly, which helped me to implement principle number two, right, of moving fast and acting quickly, which allowed me to get results really quickly, which in turn helped me to create my first 6 figures in business within my first year. So let me give you a real life example of this. When I was actually in the course doing my prac level of NLP, I hadn't even received the certification. I was on the training week, learning all of these powerful modalities. I hadn't even finished the training. And before I was even handed my certificate of completion and my accreditation, I'd already signed up my first coaching clients. I was so excited about what I was learning and knew the impact of what I was learning was going to have on my clients' lives that I was in my lunch break of learning specific modalities. And I was like getting on calls and I was like reaching out to people. And I was just so excited about, the impact that this work had had on my life and now being able to do this with other women, right? So I didn't wait till the certification or the course had finished to go and talk to women about the work that I was doing. I got into action. I moved quickly and I allowed my passion, my purpose, the impact I wanted to make to drive my behaviors and not my fears. And I had fears. I just didn't feed those fears. And so often I see women waiting till they have their website, waiting till they finish their course, waiting till they've got their certification, and just adding time, adding all this unnecessary time, which is really, if we were to peel back the layers on why you're adding this time, it's because you're not fully backing yourself, right? You're always waiting for something to happen. You're always waiting for somebody to give you permission to just fucking go. And I want you to take away from principle number 2 to go now. Stop adding time. Act quickly, move fast, take action. And here's the thing is every time that you move quickly and you take this next step and this next step and you make a decision and you act like the 6-figure woman that you want to become in business, all of this compounds and it compounds and compounds. And then boom, before you know it, you will have earned your first 6 figures in business. Now, did everything that I took action on really quickly work? Absolutely not. I made lots of mistakes. I fumbled. I fell over. I got back up. I kept going. But I never let my failures mean anything about me, right? And it wasn't always easy to do that. But I fell down. I got back up. I failed. I kept going. I knew that in order for me to get a yes, so in order for me to earn my first $1,000, in order for me to get my first clients, in order for me to sell out my first program, I was going to have to get a lot of no's to get those yeses. And so rather than like focusing on the no's as a negative or the failures or the times I fell down or the mistakes I made, I just knew that those no's served a purpose to getting me to my goal. There was no 6 figures in my business. There was no sold out courses without me getting no's, without me failing, without me falling down. Like all of that was necessary in order for me to get where I wanted to go. And in my first year in business, that was 6 figures. Like, I'm not sure what your goal is, but that was my goal in my first year in business. And this is like way back in 2014 in my first business. My first goal was 6 figures. My second business, She Who Dares, it was like the first year I want to get to 6 figures, right? Because I know from there I'm building those foundations and then I can scale.
So I learned to take my failures as feedback, beautiful, powerful feedback, to keep going, to keep trying. And I learned to recover quickly. And I learned to not make it mean anything. One of the number one things I see with my clients is they fail, they fall down, they make mistakes, they don't get the result they want. It's all part of business. All right. You're not going to just go like this and scale to the moon, right? We're going to go boom, boom, down, up and down, all over the shop. And it's like every time you fall down or make a mistake or don't hit your goal, if you make that mean something about you and you let that knock you down and you stay down, literally, that's the reason you're not going to be successful. Not because you can't, not because you failed, it's because of what you allowed that failure to mean. So stop making your failures mean shitty things about you. They mean nothing. It's all learning, it's all growth. And all my failures have allowed me to become successful. But the number one thing is I didn't make my failures mean anything about me. Okay, power principle number 3, delusional and irrational self-belief. So I know the word delusional might sound a little bit extreme, but hear me out. When I say delusional self-belief, what I mean by this is that I want you to have or embody the kind of belief that doesn't require external validation. Because when you start your business or when you're wanting to reach the next level in your business, if you are constantly seeking outside validation before you make a move, before you do XYZ, it's going to stall your success. So, how did I cultivate this level of self belief? To be honest with you, it's so simple, it's stupid. I made a decision to be successful. I didn't hope that I was going to be successful. I didn't hope that I would make 6 figures. I didn't hope that I would make the impact that I wanted to make in my business. I very much day one decided that I was going to show up as it's day 100. I was going to take action quickly. I was going to move fast, and I made a decision to be successful. Your decision is so fucking powerful, right? So when you make a decision and you start to move with that level of decision, like move like you're a successful, show up like you're successful, guess what happens? It happens. You're successful, right? If you're like hoping, wondering, maybe, like all of that energy is very confusing. So you are going to need to make a decision that you are going to be successful. And then you're going to have standards based on that decision. So the woman in business who's like, maybe I'll be successful, or hoping they'll be successful, or will I be successful? How she moves in her business is very different to the woman who's decided that she's successful, decided that she believes in herself, decided that she's going to make an impact, decided this is going to be her 6-figure year, right? We move differently based on the level of decisions we make about ourselves. And at any moment, you can make this decision. So the first step in creating that delulu belief in yourself is fucking deciding that you're going to be successful, deciding that you are successful now. That you're not waiting for something. You're not waiting for your website. You're not waiting for the course to finish. You're not waiting for whatever it is that you've been waiting for. You are deciding now that you are successful. Then from that energy, you start to take action at a different level. You start to show up at a different level. You start to speak with power and conviction, right? And all of a sudden, you have got delusional and irrational self-belief, because the secret to self-belief that I always teach my She Who Dares clients, and I teach it in my courses, in my private coaching, right, is that self-belief is built off the back of a definitive decision to be successful, and then the actions that you take thereafter. Okay. So that's how you build self-belief. If you're wondering like how, make a decision that you're going to be successful, that you're successful now, and then start moving with the energy of that decision. It's not built, self-belief is not built by reading books about self-belief. It's built in getting in the arena of your life, your business, and taking actions, right? When you start to take bold actions, move fast, trust yourself, make a decision that you're successful now, and then embody the energy of that version of yourself and start to make moves in your business in that energy, that's how you build self-belief, right? And I mean delusional, irrational self-belief. And you're going to need delusional, irrational self-belief to reach 6 figures. to reach 200K a year, to reach 300K a year, new level, new devil, right? So I'm teaching you about the things that I've had to do, I've embodied to earn my first six figures in business. Now, don't get me wrong. There were moments where I faced doubts, both from myself and from other people around me. But I held on to this irrational belief that I was going to make it. There was always something within me that told me that I was meant to do something, be somebody, create something. I saw myself succeeding long before I had any physical evidence to back it up. And so I started to move fast and I got results fast because I decided to be successful now. And because I made that decision, I started to embody that version of myself now. And then before I knew it, I had evidence that it was possible. But I had to get in the arena and move like the woman who was making six figures. Okay, power principle number 4, be hungry for success. All right. I was so hungry for success, right? I made a decision to be successful and I was hungry AF. And it wasn't about the money, even though, yes, making six figures was an incredible milestone my first year in business. It was about what success represented to me, which was freedom, impact, and proving to myself that I could break generational patterns, that I could rewrite my story and I could become who I truly wanted to be, right? Who was living the life I wanted to live and living my life on my terms in my way. For me personally, I would say my top personal value is freedom. And so part of creating a business, deciding to be successful was about giving myself the level of choice and freedom that I desired. Because when I was working in, public service or in my sales career, being told when to work, when to show up, when I could go home, when I could pee, when I could have holidays, all of that was like so suffocating to my soul and who I am. And I just craved that level of freedom. And so when I started my business, the hunger for that freedom is what drove me. That was my why. So my question to you is, what is your why? What is your deeper purpose? What are you working towards? Why are you building your business? Like, what do you want to create? What impact do you want to make? What are your values? Because if you are not clear on this stuff, when you fall down from a failure, it's much harder to get up. Okay. But if you're super clear on your why, your purpose, what's driving you, the impact you want to make, this is when you fall down in business, you can get up and recover really quickly because you know why you're doing this and you've decided to be successful. So it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, you're going to get back up and you're going to keep going, right? Because your purpose and your why will drive you. So every time I have faced a challenge or felt like giving up, and which there have been many in my almost decade in the online space, right? I remind myself of why I started. So my advice to you is tap into that hunger and let that be the thing that fuels you, not your fear. Okay, power principle number 5, be all in. Be all in. Like, I wasn't half committed. I didn't dip my toe in the water and hope for the best. I was all in on day one. I made my business, my growth, my success, my number one priority in every sense of the word. Okay. I took every other option off the table. There was no plan B, C, or D. All of those other options were off the table the moment that I decided to be successful and to build my business. That decision alone was the moment that I went all in. And in the beginning, in order to create that momentum in your business, to get it off the ground, it has to be your number one priority. I see this mistake happen a lot, right? I spoke about this in an earlier principle, like you need momentum, right? You need to move quickly because momentum loves speed. When we look at the beginning of your business journey, it might be a new offer you're launching. It might be the next level you're going to. You might be starting a business, like whatever it is, you have to make it a priority. You have to be all in, right? And I'm not sorry when I say this because I know this can be like triggering, is that you are going to have to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gain. Let me explain what I mean by this. So, yes, you are absolutely going to have to sacrifice in the beginning. And every time you are reaching a new level in your business within yourself, you are going to have to make sacrifices.
right? I think there's a lot of messages out there that's like, you don't need to sacrifice. And I just think it's a bunch of bullshit. Anyone who's built a business, right? Anyone who's done something new, anyone who's had a goal, anyone who's wanted to like change a part of their life or like set a new standard for themselves. And then there's like people out there literally saying you don't need to sacrifice. It's just absolute bullshit. And I think it's doing women a disservice. In the interim, there are going to need to be sacrifices. Let me explain this in a way that might land for you. So if you're someone who's currently, right, let's use like health and wellness. If you're somebody who's currently going to Pilates 3 times a week, and that's your normal, like that's how often you go to Pilates, that's your average amount of movement that you do each week. Your body, your mind is really used to that. So let's just say then you decide that you want to increase your fitness, right? You want to get better body composition. So you cannot achieve this by just continuing what you've always done, going to your 3 Pilates classes a week. It's not going to fucking happen, right? It's going to require you to up your workouts, change your food, increase how much you're lifting. It's going to require some sacrifice. You can't do what you've been doing in your comfort zone to get the new result you want, right? Makes sense. And the same thing applies in your business. So in the beginning, you're going to have to make some sacrifices and know that it's all good. Like it's all going to wash out in the end. So are you really all in on your business? Like, are you actually willing to get uncomfortable? Are you willing to get out of your comfort zone and go from 3 Pilates classes a week in your business and really start to train every day? Show up every day, go live every day, or whatever actions are aligned to you and the goals that you have in your business. Because whatever actions and how you've been showing up is currently getting you the current results. And in order for you to get the different result, you're going to have to show up differently in different energy. Apply these principles that I've been taking you through in this episode. Power principle number 6, be a student for life. This is something that has served me really well. I really feel that once you think you know it all, like you're done, right? There is always something to learn. There's always growth to be had. And I just really believe personally that there is always another level. Now, when I say that, I'm not in a rush. Like, it's not about like I can never be content where I am. I love just being in my soft era and being grounded. And I go through periods where I'm not striving to grow or be more. I'm just embodying the level that I'm at. And that's really beautiful. But something that it's really kind of like helped me in my growth journey is just knowing that I'm a student for life. I'm always learning. I'm always growing. I can learn from so many different people in my life. And there's always something that I don't know. And that excites me, that motivates me. And that also, when I am navigating different things in business or feeling like I'm not moving or getting the results I want, it's just because there's something I haven't yet learned. And I can go and learn that because I'm a student for life. This habit has just served me so well in my success because I'm always learning, I'm always growing, and I'm always investing. I'm investing in mentorship, I'm doing courses, I'm learning new things. And it just means that I'm always learning, growing, and expanding. So my advice to you is to stay curious and stay open, be open to a new perspective, be open to new techniques, right? I really feel like that's what's kept me ahead of the game, is that I know that I don't know everything and there's just so much for me to learn. And something that I think is really powerful as well is that I believe that there's something to learn from everyone, no matter what level of success they're at. Like, some of my greatest lessons and learnings have come through my clients who don't even have businesses. So I don't like to put people in a hierarchy that I can only learn from people who are having more success than me. I think that that can be a bit of a negative or trap as well in business. I'm open to learning from anyone around me. And I really work hard to not put people in a hierarchy, as in they're better than me, lower than me. It's like there's just so much to learn from everybody if you're really open to having that open perspective. So I want to invite you to think about what's one thing that you can commit to learning this week, right? That's going to move the needle in your business. It's going to move you closer to your goal. It's going to help you to embody the 6-figure version of you, the 7-figure version of you, wherever you're at, whatever you're creating in your business. Okay, so that's my 6 power principles that helped me to create my first six figures in business. But I actually have a bonus principle for you that actually came from a conversation that I had with Bruce. Because as I sat down to prepare for this episode, I was like, okay, what are the six things that have like really been the principles that have allowed me to create my first six figures and beyond? You know, what have really helped me to be successful? And I asked Bruce, and Bruce is my fiance for those who don't know. And I wanted to get his perspective. And, you know, there's no one in the world who knows me better than Bruce. And it was so interesting because I asked him what he believed was something that he noticed in me because he's watched me for the last 10 years build two multi six figure businesses. And I asked him what he believed was like a principle that he's watched or seen in me. And he said, you don't care what people think. And it was really interesting when he said this, because I just let it like land for a minute, marinated. And I was like, that's really interesting that that's how you perceive me. And I think that this might be actually one of the most important pieces of this podcast episode is that it's actually not that I don't care what people think. I think as human beings, on some level, we all care. There are always that group of people in our lives, right, that we do care what they think, whether that's family, friends, work colleagues, whatever it is. So even though how I show up might look like I don't care what people think, the truth is I absolutely do care what people think. The difference is I don't let that stop me. And I think that this is probably the biggest and most powerful principle that I can teach you is like all of the normal things that stop people from taking action and making big moves and moving boldly in their business. I just have worked really hard to like feel that fear, feel that judgment and move anyway, because I decided to be successful. I decided to show up on day one like it's day 100. I decided that this would be successful, that I would be successful. And so when you make a definitive decision like that, you feel all of that stuff, but it doesn't stop you. You learn to like move with that fear and move boldly. And so I just thought it was so interesting that Bruce's perception was that I was somebody who showed up and like I didn't care what people think. And I show up like that, but I have. Of course, I care what people think. I think that anyone who says that is probably not being super honest with themselves. I think on some level, there's always that one person or group of people that we do care what they think. And some of you are letting that group of people stop you from moving and having success in your business. And so I want to invite you to like, you can care what people think. How can you actually start to train yourself to move regardless? That's fucking powerful. So whether people doubted me, judged me, didn't understand my vision, thought I was a fucking joke, and I'm sure lots of people from old areas of my life have watched me on my last 10 years and laughed behind my back. You know what I've kept doing? I've kept moving. I've kept growing. I've kept building. I've stayed committed, right? And that to me is where my true power lies. And that's where your true power lies too. And when you can start to tap into that and move with the fear, move with all of that stuff, right? This is where you just start to operate at a whole new level. And that's really exciting. So there you have it. There's the 6 power principles that have helped me make my first 6 figures in business. And this is a long time ago now. Like I started my first business in 2014. That business I built to over 120K in the first year. And then my second business, She Who Dares, this business I started in late 2018, officially 2019. And again, 6 figures in my first year in that business as well. And so I've applied these principles, which has helped me to like really create momentum quickly and earn revenue quickly in my business. Because if you have a business that's not earning money, you don't have a business. And I want you to have a business. And it's usually because you're getting lost in all of these things that don't matter. So from this episode, if you take these 6 principles plus the bonus principle that I've given you in this episode and really start to cultivate this, act like this, make these decisions, start to move in this way, you are going to have more success in this next 12 months than you've ever had. And this can be applied at any level, whether you want to crack your first 6 figures, whether you've already made 6 figures. Look at each of these 6 principles and see where you can actually be expanded by this, where you can start to show up more powerfully, where you can start to make a decision to be more successful, all the things. I just want you to know that I'm cheering for you, and I want you to go out there and I want you to take a big, bold, beautiful step in your business, right? Because your success is up to you. And some of you have been in business now for a little while and you're still hoping you're going to be successful. If you took one thing away from this episode and just actually like sat down, had a really hard, tough conversation with yourself and made a decision that you are successful now, and then asked yourself, how would I show up now in my business if I was already earning the money that I wanted? Like that piece alone would literally change your next 12 months in business. And you'll be messaging me saying, I just cracked my first 6 figures, because I absolutely know it's possible for you. So until next time, keep daring, keep dreaming, and make it fucking happen, because the only person in your life who can make your life happen is you.
Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. If you loved this episode, be sure to share that with me by leaving me a review, and head over to the She Who Dares official Instagram account at She Who Dares Official, hit follow, slide into my DMs, and share with me the impact this episode has had on you. And before you go, I'm going to leave you with this. The universe is responding to you. It is following your lead. You are the one who has to move first. And when you do, the whole universe will move with you, because it's I lead, the universe follows. When I move, the universe moves with me. That is our official She Who Dares mantra. I want you to write it down, put it on a mirror, and I want you to remind yourself of it every day. When I lead, the universe follows. When I move, the universe moves with me. When you follow this She Who Dares mantra, you are going to unlock the magic of the universe, and you are stepping into your most powerful self. I can't wait to see you for the next episode. Thanks for being here.